prevention. We should be looking to thrive in all of those wellness areas. So what are these activities that I'm going to pursue? Do you aspire to an uncomplicated and fulfilling way of life? I'm Dianne AKA D-Anne. That's what all my friends call me. I'm an island woman living on the island of Barbados and walking my path to a big and simple life. Walk with me and learn with me. Welcome to the Island Woman Podcast. In today's episode, I'm talking about why wellness is especially important to me as an island woman and 3 things I'm doing to stay well. Growing up here in Barbados, it was unfortunately common to have family members or friends of family with diabetes or hypertension. And as I got older, the incidence of cancer as the cause of death for many people around me seemed to get higher. And it literally hit home when my father died of cancer of the gut back in 2003. Now, as a little girl, I was quite health conscious, you would say. And then in my teens, it was all about shedding pounds and looking thin. But in the midst of all of that, I also was wondering if all of these non-communicable diseases, or NCDs as they're called for short, if all of those diseases impacting the people all around me, if they had to be the norm. I developed a firm belief in prevention wherever possible. I learned that type 2 diabetes could be prevented with a different diet, and that obesity tended to increase the probability of developing hypertension and diabetes. So that also became another reason to keep my weight in check. And I wish I could say that now that I'm 50, there's a better picture overall of NCDs than when I was 20, but it's worse. I want you to brace yourself for these statistics from the Caribbean by an organization called the Healthy Caribbean Coalition. And they do have a website, the Healthy Caribbean Coalition. So you can go there and check the statistics and some of their information for yourself. Firstly, 40% of NCD deaths occur prematurely in those under 70, and they are potentially preventable. Heart attacks, stroke, diabetes, and cancers are the leading causes of premature death. Hypertension is the leading risk factor for death. That's here in the Caribbean. Diabetes prevalence is double. It's twice the global rate. That's here in the Caribbean. According to surveys conducted in 12 CARICOM countries, that's Caribbean community, 10 to 25% of adults have diabetes, and 20 to over 50%, that's over half, suffer from high blood pressure. That's a lot to take in. But bringing it home to me as an island woman here in Barbados, these statistics. In Barbados, women are 60% more likely to have diabetes than men and twice as likely to be obese. In Barbados, physical inactivity in women is significantly higher than men. I mean, they say 9 out of 10 women do not meet World Health Organization activity recommendations. So in other words, as a Barbadian woman looking to live my big and simple life, I should want to pay attention to my wellness. The probability of being unwell is just too high, and I don't intend to be another statistic. Do you? But let me backtrack a bit to this concept of wellness and what it means, because this is important to understand what I'm certainly trying to achieve. The Global Wellness Institute defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. And they talk about wellness in 6 dimensions, not just the physical, but the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the social, and the environmental. So, in other words, let me put it to you this way. We should be looking to thrive in all of those wellness areas. I am looking to thrive as an island woman to make sure that I live my big and simple life. And for me, that means that I'm pursuing the activities, the choices, and the lifestyles that will help me to thrive. Specifically, as an island woman, I'm pursuing activities that hopefully will lessen the probability of me dying from an NCD. I mean, personally, I would just love to go silent really quietly in the night. So, what are these activities that I'm going to pursue? Well, first of all, let's start with movement because I'm a big fan. I love it. I feel lost without it. I have to move. As a young girl, I loved being outside, playing, running, jumping. It felt so free. Most of all, I had a passion for dancing. And so it's no surprise that I ended up pursuing dance as a career for a whole decade of my adult life. But even as a teenager, when I was studying for exams, I would find myself walking up and down, dancing, moving in some way in the wee hours of the morning and I think it helped to help me flesh out concepts and remember things. As an adult, even beyond dance, I've always found time for dedicated exercise, whether I had to wake up at 4 in the morning or do it after work or in the middle of the day during bathroom breaks. And it's still a practice for me. And I think, well, most of us now would accept that dedicated physical activity lowers the risk of NCDs and it creates a better chance of you living a longer and a generally better quality of life. So I'm sticking with movement. I'm staying physical. The second activity is sleeping well. You might say it's not an activity, but yeah, it is. And I have to admit that I've always been a big sleeper. I always needed my sleep. But then once I got into the corporate world with all those deadlines always on the horizon, my sleep was heavily impacted. Now we hear so much about how sleep is good for our brain performance and our mood. And for me, I know that is true. In the last few years, as I've started going through perimenopause, I noticed that I couldn't sleep soundly after doing all the things that I would regularly have done. I mean, I was becoming cranky and lethargic. Things like eating after 7 p.m. or watching TV until late at night, well, they just didn't work anymore. And I couldn't understand it at first, but then I shared it with a doctor and she suggested that I practice sleep hygiene. That sounds fancy, but it's essentially for me, it meant three things. No screen time after a specific hour. And for me, that's generally around 9 p.m. or so. It also meant having a wind down routine. For me, that's taking a shower, doing my skincare routine, lying on the floor, being quiet for a few minutes. And then I may also do a light stretch or two. Then no eating after 6:30 p.m. And incidentally, eating late impacted another perimenopause symptom I was experiencing. But that is a whole other episode. But it definitely negatively impacted my sleep. So practices to sleep well are high on my priority list of being well. The third high priority wellness activity is making time for family and friends. I will be the first to admit I was not good at this one and I am still working on it. This one, it needs work. But, being with those in your unit and nurturing relationships with them is fundamental. We don't agree on everything. We don't have the same lives. But I know I can depend on my immediate family members and they can depend on me when it counts. And we have a good time when we get together. There's a real feeling of security that comes with just being with family. And similarly, with friends. Let me tell you, a good laugh, some nostalgia and some time to chill and chat or do something or absolutely nothing with the people you know and love. There is nothing that beats that. So I'm continuing to work on this area of my wellness because it's one where I know I can definitely do a better job and it is really rewarding. So those are the 3 wellness activities I am focused on: movement, sleeping well, and making time for family and friends. I know I haven't talked about eating or nutrition or anything like that, but that also has become a bit more complicated with the perimenopause thing. And that too probably deserves a podcast episode of its own. So you can stay tuned for that one. But for now, that is it. If you have made it to the end of this episode with me, thank you so much for taking the time. If you liked it, share it with a friend, leave a comment, or both. If you watched it on YouTube, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Join the family. Be sure to click the bell icon to get notified when the next episode goes live. And the episodes go live on Sundays, so you can look out every Sunday for a new episode. This has been the 3rd episode of the Island Woman podcast. I'm your Island Woman, Dianne Squires, AKA D-Anne. Please call me D-Anne. Until next time, peace.